Hello friends, this is Sharmi with the Amateur Gardener. I'm back with another spring planting and cleanup video, and let me take you along with me. Okay. This is where I am right now. Kind of see there are a lot of dead looking plants and there are lots and lots of weeds. These are some of my cauliflowers that are from actually a couple of years before. Some of them most of them I've already harvested, and there are a few that are left. And this is the bed that I'm planning to clean up today. It has one camellia, couple of hydrangeas, actually 3 hydrangeas, one oak leaf one, and these are the ones that look dead, but you can see if I take you closer there, it's already starting to green up. And this one is a Big Daddy hydrangea. It's supposed to be really big. What I plan to do is, we have a camellia on that side, and that is a camellia sesenqua. I think it's called Winter Star, and I plan to plant another camellia here. The one that I'm planting is a Kanjiro camellia, and that's also a camellia sesenqua. There are some beautiful tiarella in front of it. I'm going to keep that. And then these are all I think it's eversheen carex grass, and my 4-legged friend is keeping me company today. Okay, so first the cleanup. Okay, so this is the hydrangea. I think I can cut off this up to this tip. This is the first bud that is flowering, so I'm going to cut off right before it. And this is your usual big leaf hydrangea. I planted it, I think, in 2023. It flowered very nicely for me last year, and of course hydrangeas get bigger and better by the year. Unfortunately, I had my gardeners trim 5 of my beautiful hydrangeas, so I will not get much blooming from them this year. All I'm doing right now is the leaves that died back from the cold, I'm just taking off. Usually we don't even have to do this. If you give it another few weeks, it's going to fall off on its own. But all of these green that you see now, they will be flower heads. Which is why, even though it looks like sticks right now, it'll look very different a few weeks from now. Okay, I need to go to that side. one is dead. This one isn't. I'll leave a lot of the leaves behind. I'm only going to take the big ones. We have a camellia tree nearby, which is an evergreen one. It's like the southern camellias, so it doesn't lose all its leaves, but it does shed periodically throughout the year. Okay, I'm not going to do any more trimming on this hydrangea. I'm going to leave it, wait a little more to see how much green comes out, and maybe after a month I'm going to come and give it an appropriate trim, a little more shorter, but I'm going to leave it that way. Hydrangeas are grown for their flowers, which last like almost entire season. Starts with like for me here, because I have more like neutral or alkaline soil, I'll have more like a pinkish color. I do want to add soil acidifier, which I'll do not this week, but I'll add quite a bit of soil acidifier so that I can at least get like a purple. You covet for things that you don't have. I get pink flowers, so I would rather have blue or purple flowers. So I'll add some more compost, and I will add some soil acidifier at that time. Now with the second hydrangea here, this one I just planted last year. I think I have the name written down somewhere, I just don't have it here and I don't remember it. I think it's an endless summer one. Just as the temperature warms up, even before the plants have had a chance to green up, weeds galore. Things that you don't want. This area is in quite a bit of shade. Gets a little bit of morning sun on that side. But then right now it's more sun than it would usually get because of this huge tree. This one is a 2-in-1 tree. I think I've showed in some of my earlier videos. This side of it is plum and this is apricot. This little bulge that you see here happened because I had it tied up here at some point before I was interested in gardening. This tree has been here since 2012, so this is its 13th year, but it's doing well. The plant actually didn't get pruned pretty much, so now it has gone too high. I don't know how much we can prune it, but we have to get a big ladder and we got like something to get the fruits to get hold of any plums that we have. The apricot side is more horizontalish, so that is more reachable. But the plum side, which fruits more, is beyond the reach of any normal human being. So it's at least like somewhere between like 20 to 30 feet high now. I consider it my shade tree for this part of my garden, so I don't mind it being that tall. If anyone wants like a low border, then getting carex, which is a grass, is awesome. For us in zone 9, it stays evergreen throughout the year. Okay, so this is one of the flower heads, and I want this trimmed a little bit, so I'm going to cut it like here-ish. This one hasn't started. Oh yeah, some of it has. You can see a leafing out. I don't know how much it. Oh, I can see this one is alive, but I'll cut it here. This is of course a much younger hydrangea. I think it's probably like about 8-9 months old. It did flower last year. I got it I think in spring of last year. Weeding tools, you can use whatever works. You can use your hand. Sometimes you don't get the weeds with your hand. For shorter weeds, I love this tool. This is more like, looks like your 5 fingers. I got this from DeWitt. Says made in Holland, but I do have some of my tools from there, and I love the ones that I get from there. I got this like I think 3 or 4 years ago when I first started taking a more active interest in gardening. Okay, so I'm back, and this one is a Conjero camellia. This is a camellia sasanqua. Of course, then it's fall flowering. It says it's hardy to 0 to 10 degree Fahrenheit, which is pretty darn good for me. I have not had a camellia die on me yet, and a lot of them I don't even cover. So like this bed, I don't cover. Anyways, it is protected by the shed next to it, and then it does pretty well. Nothing happens to these because that camellia you see wasn't covered. It's fine. And oak leaves I never cover. So I leave them on. And actually this year I didn't cover a single hydrangea, and this is what you see. It's fully budded up. And so this one will be here. So this will be this oak leaf hydrangea flanked by 2 camellias. And what I want is, I have another hydrangea which is smaller one. I've forgotten the name of it in front. I probably want a couple more hydrangeas here, but I'll wait for something that is really nice. So I'm making, the soil here is pretty good. Oh god, there's like so many earthworms, and I don't want to slice any of the earthworms up. And then as you can see, it has drip irrigation, which is now turned off for, it has been turned off for the last couple of months. To make a sort of a wider hole. I think this is one of the roots of my what is it called? I think it's the root of this plum tree, which needs pruning. I have to cut it back. It's getting bigger. This one wasn't that old. It was planted I think 5-6 years ago, but I need to cut back some of the branches, especially the ones that are reaching for my shed. Okay, now I'm sure this is quite root bound. As you can see, this one is very root bound, so I'm going to try to parse some of the roots this way. Then the bottom. autumn as well. There's so many uses for my weeder. Okay, that's enough, I think. Okay. So, no, I have to dig a little bit deeper. For small pots like this, I like to use my hori hori. I do want to cut off this one, or at least move it to the other side. Okay. A little more. Houston's native soil is mostly clay and neutral to marginally alkaline, from my experience, unless you modify it, which I have in a lot of my areas with compost mainly. Okay, I think this is good enough. So I'm going to add a little more biotone here. So I have two dogs, you can see here, Milo and Tuffy. One's a lab and one's a labradoodle, and Tuffy's mouth has to be washed before he goes in and feed too. Okay, this one's Milo, one's Tuffy. As you can see, I plant the camellias, even the hydrangeas, a little bit above the ground. And that's because we get a lot of rain here, and sometimes we have a little bit of water that stands for a little bit and then it is taken in by the ground. So this is what I do. I recommend doing it. It's been working for me. I recommend others do it too, but again, if you have really sandy soil, it doesn't matter. Okay, I think so we are good with this camellia. Let me give you a look of the area after I get out of this space. Okay, this is how this area looks. That one looks a little far apart from that one, but that's okay. And then there's another hydrangea here. Those beds have to be de-weeded. I'm not looking into those right now. This area, like early spring or like late winter like now, you'll see more sun come in because the trees above have no leaves. But come like April, this will be in almost near shade, full shade, maybe a little bit of filtered sun. The trees have been growing over the years, so the amount of shade has been increasing. Okay, now let's get to planting the last two plants of the day. Those are the two hydrangeas. Let me go there. Okay, so I'm planting my shade garden here. Has a bunch of hydrangeas. 5 of them have unfortunately been butchered. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, I'm going to plant 2 hydrangeas here and doing some cleanup. I planted a camellia at that corner there. We have I think sweet autumn clematis there, I didn't cover. It's doing very great. None of the leaves also died or anything, but that's it. This area has some partial cover. It has an awning on top, primarily installed for my hydrangeas, but actually this area gets a lot of shade. But I used to have to cover with garden umbrellas in summer, just for like the 3 months of like extremely hot summer. But this area gets sun from about like maybe 2:30 to like the rest of the day, like 5:30, maybe 5:30. But I used to cover it up with umbrellas during those months of, I think, June through August, but which you can see the remnants still, but I don't use it. I just use it to help me come in and out of this place. So now we have the awning, so I don't have to do that. Okay, so let's get going. I'm trying to clean up first my ligularia or leopard plant. Oh, this one is the gun and smoke camellia. There's one flower down there, huge blossoms, and this one grows really big too. I think it grows like 6 to 8 feet or something. I have to loosen this up. Yeah. And beautiful blooms there. Okay, so let me get going. There is my philodendron that died back entirely, but now it's growing back. I never covered them even when I did not have the awning, and they did just fine. Earlier, I used to cover my hydrangeas if we got a late freeze, only because I didn't want to lose the flowers. The plants are fine, nothing happens to them, but if there are young buds, they may be nipped by the cold, which is why I want to cut this. It's leaving the middle of it. This is a golden penny hydrangea. It's one of the old-fashioned hydrangeas. This can grow like 5 to 6 feet tall, which is why I'm putting it at the back of my shade garden bed. Finally got it, and that's out. Okay, is in a pretty good shape. It's definitely not root bound, but I have some weeds which are happily growing, and I don't like weeds in my garden. I don't think anyone does. I want to get it out as much as possible. This is where I've planted the golden penny mac, and I think it grows about 5 to 6 feet tall. it's going to get cover up the space. Okay. Okay, I'm right now about to plant pop star hydrangea. This one is from Endless Summer. It is supposed to be a reblooming hydrangea. And hopefully I can get it out. I think the getting out is problematic. Got it. Not too bad, but still quite a bit. It's not root bound. Oh God. Adding some biotone. Mixing it with some soil. And now I am going to plant this here. Okay, so we're done with the planting for today. Kind of showed you, tried to walk you through my process for planting hydrangeas as well as a camellia, and also what I do to fertilize them and whatnot. So finally giving you a look at what I did with the hydrangeas here. So you can see the ones that were severely cut, some buds are coming. Not sure how many of them will end up in flowers, but this is the Endless Summer that I planted here, and behind is the pennymac, and that's a bigger hydrangea. Again, this would have ended up in so many blooms, but this one will still get some. These few here, I think the first two are not reblooming. They're, I think, the Citiline series from Proven Winners, those first two hydrangeas. I think Citiline Venice, I have a Citiline Mars, but these are all reblooming, so they should have blooms at least in the second round. There is the Golden Penny hydrangea. It should fill up that spot. The fern and the Softcaris mahonia, the leopard plant there will provide under covering. And then this hydrangea is still fine, wasn't cut back. The Gunsmoke is blooming again. We're gonna get another freeze this coming week. This is one of my azaleas. No, actually this is a rhododendron. I'll show you the flowers, but it's fully loaded up with buds. Okay, just barely finished cleaning up this area. This is one side, and let me take you to the other part. I still haven't cleaned this bed, but I did clean up this one. Water is still turned off, so you can see that's my Big Daddy hydrangea, and this one is an Endless Summer. I just don't remember the name. I think I have it saved somewhere. And these are the two camellias. These are the Sesenqua camellias. That's Winter Star. And this one is, I think it's the Conjiro. This one's the Winter Star, and this one is the Conjiro camellia. That's an oak leaf hydrangea. So one of the smaller oak leaves. Okay, that's all I had to show you this week. This bed had some cleaning done, but needs more. I've emptied up this bed. We had oh my god, this is what happens. Let me get you through these. These are my cabbages. They are doing wonderful. We'll harvest them later. Still have to clean up these raised beds. So hopefully you'll like my video. If you did, do hit a like and do subscribe to my channel, and I encourage you to share it with your friends and families, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.